Father in heaven, be with us throughout this midday power surge is our prayer in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Greetings, salutations to Safe to Serve International and first-time viewers. Welcome to this midday power surge. This is your spiritual oasis on this pilgrim journey. I'm your host, Andrew Henriquez, on this Monday, December 19th. As you take a look at the title, you will see exactly what we're going to be covering today. You can also click on the description below and you will see more content that we are going to be addressing throughout this midday power surge. I want to give one quick preface before we get into the meat of the matter. If you don't love God's church, you have clicked on the wrong channel. If you have no desire for your own spiritual salvation, you have clicked on the wrong channel. If you don't have any desire for the salvation of your loved ones, the salvation, the conversion of your children, your sibling, your neighbors, those around you, brothers and sisters, you came to the wrong platform on YouTube. Or did you? Did the Lord bring you here to receive an awakening, a spiritual enlightening? I'm going to recommend that you stay tuned right here and keep it locked. Well, brothers and sisters, let's get right into it. I'm going to be addressing some current events, and the purpose of addressing these current events is simply to give you a clock, a time. And as we see the crises of the ages nearing, what am I talking about? The national Sunday law, the mark of the beast, the close of human probation, as well as the second coming of Jesus Christ. The question is, where is the promised, prophesied of, predicted revival and reformation among us as a people? Where is it? Let's get into it, brothers and sisters. What's happening here in the EU? What historic event occurred just a few days ago to meet the 2030 climate goal? As you can see right there, friends, in the headline, EU agrees. Carbon market overhaul in bid to hit 2030 climate goal. What significant event led to this response from lawmakers? Look at that, brothers and sisters. What is this? What caused this response? Well, brothers and sisters, the EU, that means the European nation, the European Union, a conglomerate of various nations, have just voted to implement what they call polluter pays. They told us it's the best and the most effective way to combat climate change. There it is, brothers and sisters. Climate change, deal on a more ambitious emissions trading system. Watch this, friends. It says, there it is. On Saturday night, the MEPs and the EU governments agreed to reform the emissions trading system to further reduce industrial emissions. Red word, the EU emissions trading system, also called ETS, which enshrines the polluter pays. That's it. The polluter pays principle is at the core of European climate policy and key to achieving the objective of EU climate neutrality. Think about that, brothers and sisters. And friends, we're told the Sunday law movement is connected to what? God's faithful people are going to be threatened with fines and imprisonment. That's what you need to understand, friends. The Sunday law movement is on foot. Notice what this says. Breaking news. European Union reaches agreement to force everyone in EU countries to pay for carbon dioxide emissions, watch this now, is the first step of personal carbon credit system. The first step. Now watch this, friends. It says carefully, the residents of the EU, in addition to businesses, will be forced to pay. Red words. This means that every time you refuel, and if the heating in your home is switched on, you have to pay because of the harmful substances that are released as a result. Think about that, friends. So citizens and companies will have to pay for carbon dioxide from the exhaust, that's your vehicle, and the chimney, that's your home. This goes to energy companies and pumping stations. They have to pay for emission rights and then charge the costs to the customer who comes to fill up or turn on the gas heater. Well, friends, it's winter now. It's winter now. So in other words, the government applies a financial penalty. That's it, friends. And then the residents will have to yield, giving up their liberties as well, and join this so-called movement, which I call a dystopian, diabolical movement. Remember, people generally don't respond until something affects their pocketbook, their bottom line, money, brothers and sisters. That's what they're doing. And this so-called system was predicted. It's right there, friends. The EU, this is the first step of personal carbon credit system. Do you recall what the Alibaba Group president said? Listen.
We're developing through technology an ability for consumers to measure their own carbon footprint. What does that mean? That's where are they traveling? How are they traveling? What are they eating? What are they consuming on the platform? So individual carbon footprint tracker. Stay tuned. We don't have it operational yet, but this is something that we're working on.
Is that so? The whole of the European Union countries are about to implement this draconian system. You remember Duconomy? Listen, watch.
Later in 2018, Duconomy, a Swedish fintech, took on the challenge and launched Do, a mobile banking service for everyday climate action. The Do app is connected to a credit card that enables users to track and measure their carbon footprint from each purchase and to compensate for its impact day by day.
All right, let's move on to clip number 2.
But instead of introducing a premium credit card with the typical benefits that encourages further mass consumption, Duconomy did the opposite by launching Do Black, the world's first credit card with a carbon limit. Simply put, it's the first credit card ever to stop you from overspending, not based on your available funds, but rather on the levels of CO2 emissions caused by your consumption.
All right, friends. Well, here comes the International Monetary Fund Managing Director. Listen to what he said. These things have been orchestrated. They're simply now being implemented in all of the European Union countries.
Those transaction data can be utilized by service providers in credit underwriting, in the sense that, those transaction data in terms of how many coffee I drink every day, where I buy coffee, do I use Uber every day, and what kind of working hours I have. Those non-traditional data can be very useful for financial service providers to give me a credit score. And based on that credit score, the financial service provider give me a credit line without any face-to-face due diligence.
All right, friends, there it is. There it is. They told us it was coming. A few days ago, I covered the following. It's right there, brothers and sisters. Commonwealth Bank is now tracking your carbon footprint based on how you spend your money. We just covered this several days ago. I'm going through rather quickly. On November 4th, I covered this, brothers and sisters. And now all of the European Union countries are about to implement said diabolical policy. Watch the headline. Australia's largest bank says it will stop banking with companies. When you read the fine print, not only companies, but with individuals who refuse to go along with the policies to combat climate change. It's right there, brothers and sisters. This is what the entire European Union just voted and are on the track, the journey to implement similar inimical policies to our liberty of conscience. Again, what caused them to respond this way? Now you're seeing it. What caused them to respond that way, brothers and sisters? And let me tell you something. The money of the beast system is already in place. So the question is, where is Elijah? Where is the promised revival and reformation among us? Brothers and sisters, watch this. How many of you recall? I just covered this as well. Oxford, set to cut its famous traffic jams by degrees, October 23rd. The university city will be divided into 6 districts, and motorists will get fined if they leave their neighborhood too often. I just covered this. There it is, friends. Just a few days ago. Back in October and November. I'm going to use several clips right now as if I had a special guest live with me on set. Listen to this, brothers and sisters.
And remember, if you only watch 1 hour of telly tonight, you'll be glad it's this one, because I'm going to give you a very specific warning, and you won't hear it from anyone else. I believe we are facing a sinister threat to the freedoms and everyday liberties that we and our grandparents have taken for, and our parents have taken for granted all our and their lives, but are being squeezed out of us by woke, left-wing, authoritarian governments more effectively than a python crushing the breath out of Mrs. Kafup's pet Pekingese. And if we don't wake up soon and start saying no, it will be too late.
If we don't wake up soon, now, it will be what? Too late. My special guest went on to emphasize its climate tyranny.
Yesterday, I read a very disturbing story that comes out of Oxfordshire in Britain, but it offers a terrifying glimpse into what the future, the net zero future, could well look like under the climate renewables tyranny of Chris Bowen and Anthony Albanese, of Dan Andrews, of Palaszczuk, of McGowan, of the loonies that seem to inhabit so many of our left-wing councils and the ACT, Labour councils and governments.
And what are we told? The climate lockdown are coming between 2023 and 2024.
According to Darren Burks at the independent website Vision News, and you can also read the same story on the Daily Skeptic, an excellent website, the Joe Nova blog, and elsewhere, Oxford County Council are planning on embarking in 2024 not on COVID lockdowns, but, as I and many others have long predicted, climate lockdowns. Yes, folks?
All right, friends. And notice, they will tell us now how things are going to be rolled out. The infrastructure is already in place. My special guest will elaborate and explain. Listen.
According to Vision News, last week, Oxfordshire County Council finally approved their plans to lock residents into one of 6 zones across the city of Oxford. They have divided the city, this is the council, into 6 zones as the latest stage in what is called the 15-minute city agenda. Remember that phrase.
Yes, remember it. All right, friends. And now, my special guest would tell us that they will implement these policies whether you like it or not. Listen.
And they are actually boasting about this agenda. According to an October article in the Oxford Mail, the local newspaper there, quote, Duncan Enright, Oxfordshire County Council's Cabinet Member for Travel and Development Strategy, has explained how roadblocks stopping most motorists from driving through Oxford city centre will divide the city into 6 15-minute neighbourhoods. He insists the controversial plan will go ahead whether people like it or not. There's your COVID mentality at work.
Do you know what this sounds like, my friends? This sounds like the nations are beginning to speak as a dragon. Let me pause my special guest for a moment here, friends. The Bible tells us in Revelation 13, the dragon gives the papacy power, seat, and great authority. And America forms an image to the papacy. So America will also implement the said policies of the dragon. That's Revelation 13, verse 11 through verse number 15, down into verse 18. It's clear. And what is that dragon authority? The draconian authority. That's Matthew chapter 8, verse number 9. Go or else. Come, you must come or else. Do this or else. That's it, friends. And America will do likewise. But now we are seeing the nations are already beginning to morph, to transform into this draconian, dystopian society. But remember, if this is happening in these nations, that means it's sooner to transpire in America than many of us believe. Have you ever heard of electronic gates? Most of us have. But this time, it will shut you in or shut you out. Special guest, continue.
The Oxfordshire Council will place electronic gates on key roads in and out of the city, confining residents to their own neighbourhoods. Even the Times newspaper has reported on this travesty without batting an eyelid, that motorists will be fined simply for leaving their neighbourhood once too often.
You know, friends, none of us appreciate being surveilled, an eye watching us everywhere we go. None of us likes that. That is not only intrusive, but also abusive. Now watch this surveillance system. Watch carefully. Listen.
So, how does this communist-style activity work in what is supposedly the heart of a liberal democracy? Well, here's how the boffins explain it. Every resident will be required to register their car with the county council, who will then monitor how many times they leave their district via number plate recognition cameras. People can drive freely around their own neighbourhood and must apply for a permit to drive through the filters and into other neighbourhoods, which they can apply to for up to 100 days per year. The council will then track their movements via smart cameras positioned all around the city. If any of Oxford's 150,000 residents drives outside of their designated district more than 100 days in the year, he or she can be fined $150 a pop.
Is that, now, friends, is that not the Sunday law movement on foot? Luke 21 told us, when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, do not speculate. Know the desolation thereof is nigh. Country living, anybody? Conversion time, anybody? Yes, it's time. Locked in, locked out. Go back to AD 66. General Cestius descending on Jerusalem. And AD 70, General Titus descending on Jerusalem. And there it is again, the Sunday movement. Yes. As the enforcement becomes more bold and decided, laws will be invoked against commandment keepers. They will be threatened with fines and imprisonment, brothers and sisters. All right. Now notice, my special guest is going to further explain the so-called 15-minute city and really amplify the point. It is a dystopian society, not a utopia. Listen.
What exactly is a 15-minute city? The term was coined in 2016 by Sorbonne professor Carlos Marino, who was given a Nobel Award in 2021 for developing his idea. I'll bet he was. The lovies lapped it up. Quote, a truly livable and sustainable urban future that places each global citizen at the heart of their own city, was the gushing blurb. When they say places each global citizen at the heart of their own city, of course, I suspect what they really mean is imprisons each global citizen within 5 kilometers of their own home.
Oh, brothers and sisters, imprisonment. And notice who else is promoting this. Remember now, the EU is on track to implement these same policies. Remember this. Now, the special guest will tell us the World Economic Forum. Listen.
Unsurprisingly, we find the concept enthusiastically being sold by Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum. The same mob who hope that by 2030 you will own nothing and you will be happy have even gone to the trouble of drawing you up a cute little diagram of your wonderfully new virtual prison to make the idea look benign and appealing, as well as a funky interactive World Economic Forum graph. Klaus loves these things, where you can learn that urban resilience, for example, is linked to climate change, cybersecurity, and, of course, systemic racism. All the usual lefty nonsense and garbage designed to keep individuals locked down and denied freedom of movement, the most fundamental and precious of all our human rights, and the most basic one at that.
Oh, brothers and sisters, have we not been told that laws are going to be enacted to trample upon every right of conscience? It's right there, my friends. They shall repudiate every principle of our Constitution as a Protestant and Republican government. Yes, this statement specifically will be seen in America. But remember, as goes America, so goes the world. Revelation 13, 11, and 12. What begins in America goes around the world. And we're now seeing, glimpses of what is coming. Great controversy, page 588. They'll trample upon our right of conscience. Do you know what my special guest? I have to give him some time. He's my special guest today. My special guest stated it was the pestilence 19 pandemic that actually laid the foundation for these draconian policies and made the people more acceptable of these diabolical policies. Listen to my special guest.
The Brisbane Times were most enthusiastic. Quote, the concept of a city in which work, play and most of life's necessities are within 15 minutes of home on foot or by bicycle gained traction during the pandemic. And today, cities around the world, including London, Milan and Paris, are embracing the idea.
Okay.
I'll bet they are.
All right, friends. And my special guest is going to be talking about the coming climate lockdown. Look at a graph behind him on the screen. You will see it's a Sunday climate lockdown. Sunday lockdown is on foot. Listen.
How robust? Roadblocks? Electronic filters? Fines if you drive too often into the wrong zone? I guess we'll have to wait and see. But Dan's not mucking around. Quote, Plan Melbourne aims to make the 20-minute neighbourhood concept a reality for every person, promises the Victorian government website. And who can forget back during lockdown, Victoria Police handing out $5,000 fines with hundreds of police officers stopping literally thousands of people going about their daily business because they crossed into the wrong zone. Imagine the glee with which those same officers will go about their work next time when they're saving the whole planet from people driving their motor cars, all in the name of climate change.
Look at the screen right there, friends. Sunday lockdown. Fines if you violate Sunday lockdown. The special guest is telling you it's all connected. Sometimes when I say it, you don't believe me. So we're giving you other witnesses. Later on, I'm going to share with you Mr. Antichrist himself. Pope Francis stated, all these crises are interconnected. Watch this, brothers and sisters. Watch carefully. Now you will hear that we are marching headlong into tyranny. How many times have I come here live and told you that? From the Bible, I confirmed it. From the spirit of prophecy, I also confirmed it. Well, let a secular source again confirm what we have been told. Listen to this.
We are marching headlong into a world of technocratic tyranny and control over our daily lives that is anathema to the spirit of liberty and democracy, where even local government bureaucrats, let alone big government mandarins, control and survey our every movement. Living within our 5-kilometre boundaries, being on camera all the time, everybody riding around on bicycles.
And friends, who is this system of tyranny? Whose is it? Is it not popery? Look at this, my friends. Constant surveillance? What is that? That is the Inquisition, the papal Inquisition, brothers and sisters. That's it. To overthrow our liberty of conscience. That's what we have been told. And that's what I've shared with you. Papal tyranny will be repeated. It's coming, brothers and sisters. My special guest is going to ask a very troubling question. How is it all these governments, both in the EU, Australia, New Zealand, and elsewhere, how is it they're all about to implement the same policy to combat the same crises? He asked the question, is there a main central head dictating to all these governments in the world and then to strip away our liberties by forcing the consciences of the residents? Watch, listen to my special guest.
As Joanna Nova says on the excellent Joe Nova website, the 15-minute city is now already being eagerly embraced by the United Nations to tackle climate change, of course, as well by a host of city councils and local governments all around the world, including popping up in Barcelona, Paris, Portland, Buenos Aires, and even Brisbane and Melbourne. Yes, they're everywhere. Interesting, isn't it? How all these different cities all around the world seem to be kind of hopping on the same bandwagon all at the same time. It's almost as if, I don't know, we had one big government running the world behind the scenes, telling all the little governments, the democratically elected ones, what to do. Of course, I'm only joking. That could never happen, could it?
My special guest is simply using sarcasm. And we know based on prophecy, my special guest can't really connect the dots fully, but he's doing some. We need to help our special guest and help others to connect the dots to see all roads lead not just to Rome. All roads lead to the papacy. Revelation 17 verse 18. That woman, the papal church, the mother of harlots, is the one who reigns over the kings of the earth. That same apostate church, so-called church, that is in bed with the kings, the rulers of the earth, even the merchants. Brothers and sisters, here it is now. The Pope is going to tell us all these crises are connected. My special guest, The man behind the curtain is the Pope of Rome. There it is, my friends. Fresh off the press, December 16th. He says, Pope Francis recalls that all crises are interconnected and that we must not forget any of them. Yet how many of us have forgotten? They are all connected. Look at this, my friends. This is what the world is saying. Pope Francis justifies draconian responses to the pestilence 19 pandemic. During the entire pandemic period, Francis never, my second special guest said, never criticized the repressive lockdowns, the shuttering of churches, the mandatory subjection to untried inoculations, the closing of schools, or the decimation of entire industries. Blue words. For months on end, citizens could not leave their houses. What? Could not leave their houses without carrying papers justifying their absence from home, which security forces could arbitrarily demand from anyone on the street. How could Mr. Antichrist condemn these policies when he is the one behind the curtain? We need to unmask, Pope, brothers and sisters. Blue words. The pandemic also had its positive effects, the Pope asserts. Quote, these include a chastened return to humility, a rethinking of certain consumeristic excesses, and a renewed sense of solidarity. All right, end quote, end quote. Here comes my second special guest. The leader of the world's largest Christian denomination finds nothing else to learn from a period in which the faithful were abandoned by their pastors, where people died without spiritual assistance, where the sacraments were largely unavailable, and where the church's principal message seemed to be, obey the government. That's it, brothers and sisters. Obey the government. Now, as I segue, the great question is, my friends, are we prepared? Are we ready for what's coming? It's evident the national Sunday law is near. It's evident the close of human probation is near. It's evident the second coming of Jesus Christ is even at the doors. It's evident death can come at any time. It's also evident the majority of our family members are spiritually unprepared, physically unprepared, financially unprepared, mentally unprepared, socially unprepared. They know nothing of these 5 keys of survival. It's evident many of us are unprepared. It's evident many within the SDA community are unprepared. It's evident. So where is Elijah? Where is revival and reformation? God gave me an assignment. And I say this not braggadociously, not with any venom, not with any arrogance, but with humility. And the assignment is, yes, use the current events as the hook. Use it as the timepiece. Time is almost finished. But remember, revival and reformation must take place among those in the churches, those in our homes, so that we can reach the world. Oh, brothers and sisters, I'm going to make a simple juxtaposition here. Look at what's transpiring in our various nations. It doesn't matter where you are. Not every one of you who's live right now is in America. You're all over the world. Save to Serve International, first-time viewers. Why is it that these, may I say, these minions, these imps of politicians are implementing these inimical policies to our liberty of conscience? Why is it so? Do you know why? The people don't know that they have the power. And yet, when the Sunday law is enforced, the people are the ones who call for it. of course, being moved by their church leaders. They're the ones who demand of their politicians to enforce Sunday worship by law, just as the Jews, motivated, persuaded, put Pilate under the proverbial lock and key. Throw away the key. You must crucify this man. You must release Barabbas. The power resides with the people. But it seems that today they have forgotten that. But very, very soon, all of a sudden, amnesia will be totally eradicated. They will remember they have the power and call for a Sunday law in America. Then globally, back to my point, the people have the power. So why are they allowing these rogue politicians to run rampant unchecked? Why? Something is wrong, friends. Now come to the church now, the SDA church. Why is it that so much apostasies are among us as a people? Not only in America, not only in the Caribbean, not only in Africa, you get the point. Asia, Europe, why? South America, North America, across the border in Canada. Why, my friends? Have the people and the members of the SDH lost their minds? Have they forgotten they have the power to bring about change? I mean, true change. The power resides with the people. But oh, friends, I want to share a few things with you. I believe juxtaposition. One main reason why there is so many rogue actors, yes, my friends, scoundrel politicians, I said it, it's because many of the people are scoundrels themselves. Yep. Come to the church. Why is it so many? Are we seeing so many apostate SDA pastors, administrators, as well as elders? It's because the members are also in apostasy and they voted in people that will promote their own apostate agenda items. I said it. Look with me. And the question is, should we begin to blame, watch this, blame the residents and citizens in these countries? You voted these people in. They're simply carrying out your whims, your wishes. If not, you would vote them out. If not, there will be a revolution. Tomorrow in America, there would be a revolution. Do we not have the infrastructure, social media? Yes, but they're too busy with their sins. Come to the church. Could there not be, not revolution now, a revival and reformation within the SDA church? Yes. But the people have lost their God-given instruction. They love apostasies. So here's my question. Have we come to a time that we should not only blame the apostate leaders for the abominations within the SDA church, but also blame the members who sit in the pews? Now, if you think I'm making this up, go with me to Jeremiah chapter 5. And beloved, if you don't love God's church, click off right now. Stage left for you. If you have no desire for your own spiritual growth and salvation, and the salvation of your loved ones, your family members, your spouse, your children, your parents, your brothers and sisters who attend local SDA churches, just click off this video right now. Go somewhere else. But if you truly are a Christian, you would stay tuned. Jeremiah chapter 5. Look at verse 1. By the way, I'm going to read the actual verse. Then I'm going to put the vehicle in reverse and give you context and come right back to that principal verse. It's my chief witness, my star witness. Look at verse number 30 and verse number 31 of Jeremiah chapter 5. It says, a wonderful and horrible thing is committed in the land. The prophets prophesy falsely, and the priests bear rule by their means. And my people love to have it so. My people love to have it so. And what will you do in the end thereof? The people love the apostasy. That is one great reason the prophets could preach false doctrines in the churches. The elders, the evangelists, the medical missionaries, yes, the priests, the pastors, the professors of theology in the seminaries, yes, as well as the administrators could run rampant. I mean, they have a blank check to write on. That's it. Carte blanche. Highway in the church, destroying God's vineyard. And the Bible says, God said, my people love to have it so. So who did God blame for the apostasy in Judah and Jerusalem? Who Christ not only blamed? The prophets, the priests, but also whom? The people. So who must we blame today? December 19th, 2022. The people. They love apostate leaders. They love apostasies. They voted them in. If they really wanted change, they would rise up today. And Safe to Serve and Prophesy Again platforms is to accomplish what Jeremiah was called to do. Don't fear their faces, Jeremiah chapter 1. Do not fear their faces. Preach the word. Present truth. Live the truth. Agitate and educate. That's why we're here today, friends. And now notice, context. Jeremiah was the final true prophet just before Babylon came. Just before the destruction of literal Jerusalem. So what is the application? This scene will be repeated just before Babylon rises again. The national son law, the mark of the beast, the close of probation upon the church and the world. So where is Jeremiah? Where is Elijah? Now with that in mind, come with me now to verse 1. I gave you my star witness. Come to verse 1. Verse 1 says, God speaking, run you to and fro through the streets of Jerusalem. Underscore these words, and see now, and know, and seek in the broad places thereof, if you can find a man. Didn't say, if you can find men, can you find a man? If there be any that executeth judgment and seeketh the truth, and I will pardon it. Brothers and sisters, Christ could not find one man in the church. Just before the destruction of Jerusalem, just before Babylon came, what would be the application? Oh, brothers and sisters, do you know it was actually better in Sodom to some extent? Well, listen to my contrast and comparison. Christ said to Abraham, if I can find, Abraham said to Christ, if you can find 50, will you spare it? 50 weren't there. 45, couldn't find 45. 40, 35, 30, 25, 20. Can you find 10? Couldn't find 10. How many he found down there? Lord have mercy. So as it was in Sodom, let me tell you something. Lot and his family were not the only people who were professing to be the people of God. If that were the case, there'd be no need for Lot to inquire of God. If you can find 50 spirit, he would simply have said, my family alone. All right. Come back here, friends. Jeremiah 5. Couldn't find a man. And that's why we're told in the book, Education. Yes. Page number 59, pardon me. Page number 57. We're told, my friends, the greatest want of the world is the want of men. Men who will not be bought or sold. Men who in their inmost souls are true and honest. Men who don't fear to call sin by its right name. Men, brothers and sisters, whose conscience is as true to duty as the needle is to the pole. Men who will stand for the right, though the heavens fall. I don't care if they call me an offshoot. Do you think I care? I don't care if they call me a cult leader. I don't care. I don't care if they call me an extremist fanatic. I don't care. I don't care if they call me a troubler in Israel, a troubler of the SDA church. I'm in good party with Christ, Elijah, John the Baptist, and Jeremiah. They placed Jeremiah in a dungeon. Do you think I'm preaching to get accolades? Now watch. If the people in the SDA church were really fed up with apostasy, do you know one thing they would do? They would appeal to their pastors to change, their elders, their deacons. If no reconciliation, no change for the better, who should they turn to? Come on, turn to the one who placed him there. Who is it, my friends? The ministerial director of the local conferences. Go to your Seventh-day Adventist local church conference and look for ministerial director. The field director. He was the one who was principally, yes, in charge of all the pastors in the various local churches. Appeal to him. If nothing, move up the ladder. The conference president. And maybe that's where it's going to stop. What do we do next? I'll tell you what to do next. Come to verse number 2. But oh, it's too much work. Who told you? Revival and Reformation would not be a ministry of work. Or maybe you're too indolent. Look at verse number 2. It says, and though they say, the Lord liveth, surely they swear falsely. It doesn't matter if they're using Bible and preaching. These men are apostate leaders. Look at verse 21. Look how verse 21 connects with verse number 1. Verse 1, verse 21. Look at verse 21 now. Hear now this, O foolish people, and without understanding, which have eyes and see not, which have ears and hear not. For you fear you not me, saith God? Will you not tremble at my presence? All right, skip on down to verse 23. But this people hath a revolting and a rebellious heart. They are revolted and gone. Neither say they in their heart, let us now fear the Lord our God, that giveth rain, the former rain and latter rain in his season. He reserveth unto us the appointed weeks of the harvest. So why is there no revival and reformation? The people love apostasies. They love their apostate pastors, elders, deacons, youth leaders. Beloved, pause right there. Most recently, Evangelist Andy Roman of Advent Messenger put something on his website, adventmessenger.org. Take a look at it, friends, where you have the leaders within the health institution. The North American division said that we are connected to Advent Health. All right. He said that. Okay. And what did the World publish in, I believe, the Orlando Sentinel? Here are Advent Health, Seventh-day Adventist health administrators posing, dressing like warlocks, witches, sorcerers. And friends, it was not Halloween. And it wouldn't be any better if it was Halloween. The world, volume 9, the world is watching Seventh-day Adventists. It knows something of their profession of faith and high standard. And when it sees those not living up to their profession, it points to them with scorn. Go read that. Volume 9, page 20, and a second reference on page 23. All right, come back here. Why no rain? The people in the pews love their apostate leaders. Verse 25, your iniquities have turned away these things. Your sins have withholden the showers. Lord have mercy. So where is Jeremiah today? Where is Elijah? Verse 26. For among my people are found wicked men. But we are told the church is okay. Don't preach against their sins. Question, who is publishing their sins? They are the ones airing their filthy, corrosive garments. Among my people, said God, are found wicked men. They lay wait. And by the way, the Bible is written so the whole world can see publicly the public sins of Israel, Judah, and Jerusalem. That was type, past tense. The same things are transpiring now. Go read Romans chapter 15, verse 4, and 1 Corinthians 10, and verse number 11. Look here, verse 27, as a cage is full of birds, so are their houses full of deceit. Therefore, they are become great and waxen rich in sins, brothers and sisters. Verse number 29, shall I not bring judgments for these sins? And the Bible now says in verse number 30, a wonderful, horrible thing is in the land. The prophets prophesy falsely, the priests bear rule by their means, and my people love to have it so. Where must revival begin? In a book called Testimonies to Ministers and Gospel Workers, page 265, paragraph 2, it says this: through association with the world. You mean Advent Health? You mean our conference offices? You mean our schools? You mean our churches? Our publishing houses? Listen, through association with the world, our institution will become unsubstantial, unreliable, because these worldly elements introduced and placed in position of trust are looked up as to teachers to be respected in their educating, directing, and official positions, and they are sure to be worked upon by the spirit and power of darkness. People look to these men who have taken God's institutions, connected them with the world, and said, these are our revered leaders, but they're being worked by the spirit and power of darkness, so that the demarcation becomes not distinguished between him that serveth God and him that serves him not. The parable is given by Christ in regard to the field in which it was supposed to have been sown pure wheat. But the entrusted ones look upon the field with disappointment and inquire, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath it tears? When hath it tears? What are we to do? Volume 5, page number 14 says, when professors, teachers, yes, I'll add, ministers, yes, publishing directors, health leaders, administrators shall sacrifice religious principles in order to please a worldly, amusement-loving class, they should be considered unfaithful to their trust. And they should be what? Discharged, fired, terminated, defrocked. But oh no, they have been ordained pastors. So what? God's Spirit left a man who was ordained. Go read again the account of King Saul. Go read again the account of Judas Iscariot. Ordained. But what happened, brothers and sisters? What happened? Question. Is it now time to blame the people for the state of the church? It begins with you. So today, I want to empower the people in the pews. And listen to me, if you're not being converted, hold on. I have something for you. Breaking news. We are told in Patriots and Prophets, page 459, 459. Hear what this says. In a chapter entitled Apostasy at the Jordan, it says, page 459, do I have it? It says, watch carefully, that God's people on top, the followers of Christ, are to separate themselves from sinners, choosing their society only when there is opportunity to do them good. We cannot be too decided in shunning the company of those who exert an influence to draw us away from God. While we pray, lead us not into temptation. We are to shun temptation as far as possible. Read the whole chapter, even that page. And James chapter 4 and verse 4 was quoted. You adulterers and adulteresses, know you not? The friendship of the world is enmity with God. Volume 4, page 210 and page 211 says, Satan's chief work is at the headquarters of our faith. If the heart of the work becomes corrupt, then the church, with its various branches, will suffer surely defects. And we're told ministers were seen by Sister White removing the bolts on the door to let in the enemies of our faith. Where are the people, brothers and sisters? Where are they? Jeremiah chapter 5 verse 1. Go you through the streets of Jerusalem. See and know, run to and fro, if you can find a man. If there be any that executes judgment, that seeketh the truth, and I will pardon that church. Pardon that family. Do you love God's church? Do you love the people in the pews? Well, stop pacifying those apostate leaders. And if there's no change, what must you do? I gave you the statements. At this moment, who wants to pray for their family members who are in apostasies? Who wants to pray for their churches? Who? Send in your prayer requests. Do you want to be sealed? Do you really want to be sealed by God? Gospel Vocal Brothers will sing the song one more time. Watchmen, tell me, where are the watchmen? Can God find one man? Or do we have some spineless men in the churches? Some mamby-pamby preachers nowadays. Where are the men that will stand? Oh, I know what the problem is. Our men have become feminized. Gospel Vocal Brothers, take it away.
Thank you for joining us for Midday Passage. We'll be singing a hymn titled Watchman Tell Me. We hope you are blessed.
Watchman tell me that the morning of Zion's glory dawn, have the signs that my King's coming, yet upon thy pathway shone. Pilgrim, yes, arise, look round thee, light is breaking in the sky, till thy bright robes around thee, Canaan's glorious heights arise.